Okay, so this is gonna be about a time where I let myself fall for a Kāne Hawaii who had a girlfriend part 2. So summer happened, and when I mean summer happened, I mean summer happened. I found out that I was accepted into the master's program for Hawaiian Studies, which meant I'd be back at UH Manoa in the fall, so I'd get to see Rose again. Then I traveled to Tahiti with Kumulili Kala and a bunch of other amazing Kanaka for like a graduate level study abroad kind of course, and that trip deserves a Mokuna of its own for sure. Oh, and then an actual hurricane swooped in just to get into one mean scrap with my home. And yeah, it was an eventful summer for sure. No contact whatsoever from C. Rose, but let me tell you, that all-night conversation I had with him back at the end of the school semester stayed in my mind all summer. And then when I found out that I was going to be back in school for the following semester, I was like, "Ke Noʻeau, C. Rose has a wahine already. So when you go back, you're just going to be his hoa, okay? Simple as that. You got this. No crushing allowed." And then guess what happens? So it's my first day back on campus and I'm moving back into the dorms. I left my door open again because just like it was last time, it was still vela loa. Anyways, I literally walked into my room for the first time and bing, I get a text. So I grab my kelepona and I see it's a text from C. Rose and it said, "I see you, ... LOL. Then next thing you know, I hear music playing from someone's cell phone outside of my room. So I look up and C. Rose does this really goofy dance across my doorway. And I immediately started smiling, maybe blushing just a little bit. And in my head, I was like, "Damn it, Noʻeau, you better stop that right now, you hoe." So after he danced across my doorway, he comes back. We talk story for a little bit and he asked me how my summer was and what Tahiti was like. Then I kid you not, later that night, he comes back again and we have another all-night conversation. And of course, the whole time, I'm doing the best to keep myself in check. And I'm like, "We're just gonna be friends." Repeat, we're just gonna be friends. Plus, I didn't even know if he was into me like that. So this pattern happens throughout the semester. But eventually, we weren't just hanging out at night, but sometimes in between classes, or we'd randomly go grab food together. Interestingly enough though, and I'm not sure if C. Rose intentionally planned it out like this, but whenever we'd hang out, his girlfriend was conveniently nowhere to be seen. To this day, I haven't had a single interaction with her. I had heard that she was nice, so I used that to keep me in check whenever my crushy feelings started to come back in. I would tell myself, we are not to hurt this girl. We are not to hurt this girl. Anyways, there was one night in particular where C. Rose was over in my room and we were having another one of our nightly Hawaiian Studies discourse sessions. Then the conversation somehow took a turn towards more serious subjects, particularly having to do with trauma. So we both exchanged some heavy stories that night, stories that we haven't exactly shared in detail with anyone before. And then after we got all that out of our systems, we mahaloed each other and I wanted to hug him so bad, but I didn't. Instead, we talked for a bit more until we decided to call it a night. C. Rose went back to his room and we both went to sleep. The following day, I remember just finishing class and I had gotten back to my dorm room. C. Rose had been texting me and eventually he kind of asked out of nowhere, "Hey, so you like both, huh? Kāne and wahine?" And I said, "Yup." So he reads the message and doesn't reply. So I just went back to doing my own thing, working on Ha'awina for one of my classes. When he texts back, like, "Cruz, I gotta go grab something from the library." And I was like, "Yeah, this paper can wait." So we go to the second floor of Hamilton Library and we went all the way to the back of the library to the very last row of bookshelves and we went just noho on the floor. I was leaning up against one bookshelf and he was sitting across from me leaning up against another bookshelf, and there was this weird awkward tension in the air. And I'm one of those people who, if I sense something's up, I'm gonna say something whether you want to hear it or not. That dude can attest to this because I would call him out all the time for trying to mask his emotions. Yeah, that was never fun. So after I brought up the tension, it took a bit of prying, but he let me know that when he read my text about liking both, that he was kind of nervous, happy, and excited. And I was like, "Oh yeah? Why's that?" And then he said, "'Cause Noʻeau, me too." And immediately in my head, I was like, yes, I knew it. My close friends called it, my family called it, because I tried my best to keep them all in the loop. Then he mentioned how he never really had anyone to talk about it with before. And I was like, hey, we're friends, I got you. And he seemed okay with that response. Mind you, I was still being super kupa'a about just being his friend and protecting his relationship with his wahine. So I never mentioned anything at all about my crush. So we left the library and I still had it set in my mind. Okay, We're just gonna be friends. And hey, now we have another thing in common to talk about as friends. This was all set in my mind until I got a text from him later that completely opened the floodgates. He had texted me saying that he had a crush on me. So just for that one moment, I decided to let the fantasy of C-Rose and I ever having a thing play out in my mind. More part 3.
Do you think there's something funny about this scenario? We ain't spent a minute apart since the day we said hello. I adore our conversations and the vibe so sensual. Are you feeling the connection? I just wanna know. Can't get you out of my mind. Your touch gives me butterflies. Should it be? Could it be? Help me solve